Press release of World Spiritual Assembly. Press release. Dated, July 4, 2022. Press release first title, The Final Clarion Call for the Fascist Dictators and Rulers of Indian Subcontinent, especially Narendra Modi and his Gangsters. Press release second title, Gajwa-e-Hind battle will take place in Indian Subcontinent and soon the Mujahid fighters will eliminate all the oppressive and fascist fanatic Hindu fundamentalists with their godfathers. Press release 3 RD title, Since 2019 the World Spiritual Assembly's resourceful fact-finding delegation listed all names of Hindu fundamentalists and their sponsored godfathers such as fanatic Jews for exemplary punishment. They must never re-establish themselves to conduct any heinous immoral activities against mankind. Since 1400 years ago, with the advent of great Prophet Hazrat Mohammad SM, PBUH, and Holy Quran along came the Islam's greatest fighters. These noble great soldiers had contributed with their heart and soul for Islam's vision and mission in respect of beloved Prophet Hazrat Mohammad, SM, starting with Hazrat Muadh and Muawwidh, R.A., 2 minor children, age 9 to 11, by their self-initiative killed Ummayya, the leader of Ummayyad dynasty at the Battle of Badr, along with Ummayyad gangsters whom were Islam's greatest enemies and hypocrites like Abu Jahel and Abu Lahab, terror King of Mecca, by the spiritual action and protection of the Almighty God's super angel power. These hypocrites were killed miraculously by great soldiers like Hazrat Hamza, R.A., Hazrat Ali, R.A., and Hazrat Ubaida bin Al-Harith, R.A., along with Hazrat Belal, R.A., and other greatest soldiers under the command of Prophet Mohammad, S.M. This was an exemplary event that took place in 624 AD. In the same year 624 AD, when the Almighty God had instructed Prophet Mohammad, PBUH, to change the worship direction from Jerusalem Masjid al-Aqsa to Holy City Mecca during noon prayer at Medina Masjid al-Qiblatain while Prophet was leading prayer, at that same day, during midnight all the fanatic Jews who converted to so-called Muslim, approximately 372 of them felt betrayed and angry, ultimately decided that, Muhammad, PBUH's mission and vision of Islam will not be considered because he changed his worship direction from Holy Jerusalem to his own holy city Mecca, Holy Kaaba. This fanatic Jews group started to conspire and collaborate with the Mecca's hypocrite ruler Abu Sufyan and his gangsters. They ultimately betrayed Prophet Mohammad, PBUH, at the Battle of Azab. But the Almighty God, miraculously saved Prophet Mohammad, PBUH, from their trap and advised him to take strict martial action. According to Almighty God's direction, Prophet appointed the great Abu Lubaba as commander-in-charge, whom was also a newly converted Muslim from Jewish community. He was the only true converted Muslim from the Judaism that carried out order of Almighty God as the proper punishment by killing all the fanatic Jews that betrayed Prophet Mohammed, PBUH. This was also another miraculous event. Islam's great soldier of 20th century Ghazi-il-Din and Abdullah Kabudazidovich. Picture of Ghazi-il-Din. In late 19th century a great lover of Prophet Mohammed, SM, Ghazi-il-Din had assassinated a fanatic Hindu book publisher named Mahashay Rajpal for publishing the book Ranjila Rasul, in which the author insulted the great beloved Prophet of Islam Hazrat Muhammad, SM. Although his case was fought by late Muhammad Ali Jinnah, but he was executed for this crime. It may be mentioned here that, Mr. Jinnah tried to convince Ghazi-il-Din to obscure the truth, but Ghazi-il-Din did not change his statement, hence he was given the death penalty. Later in the 20th century a Chechen refugee Abdullah Kabudazidovich migrated and living France had decapitated or beheaded his history teacher in the classroom for disrespecting the Islam's beloved Prophet Hazrat Mohammad, SM, ultimately he was shot to death but he fought bravely. These are all miraculous events that taken place by the grace of Almighty God. Such events must again be recalled for the greatest dangers of Indian subcontinent, especially against fascist fanatic Hindu fundamentalists sponsored by fanatic Jews and their hypocrite dangerous godfathers like Mohammed bin Zayed, fascist ruler of United Arab Emirates, along with Mohammed bin Salman, another hypocrite, immoral so-called crown prince of King of Saudi Arabia, and others. Recently, In India, Nupur Sharma, a spokesperson and Navin Jindal, local leader of India's fascist BJP government, had openly criticized Islam's beloved Prophet Hazrat Mohammad, SM. In response, various world leaders had condemned them and also called for legal action to be taken against this type of immoral bastards. There are countless protests that have erupted in India. Also, Modi's fascist fanatic Hindu government is doing everything in their capacity to suppress these Muslims' protests. Since the fanatic Hindu and RSS-backed Narendra Modi and Amit Shah came in power since 2014, there had been numerous Islamophobic events that had taken place against the Muslims in India. From abolishing Kashmir's autonomy to the destruction of Babri Masjid, not mention the innocent Muslims that gets killed at the behest of BJP-affiliated extreme Hindu followers, are all evidence of Islamophobia. These extreme Hindu nationalists are directly or indirectly contributing to the suffering of innocent Muslims and minorities in India and occupied Jammu Kashmir. It may be mentioned here that, when Modi was the chief minister of Gujarat, there were countless Muslims that died by the aggressive gangsters of Modi and Amit Shah, backed by RSS. They were known as the Butcher of Gujarat. It's quite pathetic that fanatic Jews had sponsored a tea stall owner like Modi, who drinks the urine of cow and eats cow dung every morning as his daily routine. Because of this immoral behaviors, Modi's wife, Jashodaben Modi, had left him decades ago. She is currently retired school teacher. 1400 years ago, great Prophet Hazrat Mohammad SM, PBUH, had prophesied about the Battle of Gajwa-e-Hind, liberation of Hind land, in which he mentions that Indian subcontinent will be free of oppressive and fascist Hindu rulers and fanatic Hindu followers by the Mujahid fighters. The World Spiritual Assembly and its religious and spiritual leaders are anonymously inviting all the real Muslim Mujahid fighters from around the globe, especially from Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, to come forward to set the ground for prophesied Gajwa-e-Hind battle. The great soldiers of Gajwa-e-Hind are requested to admit into the Indian territories in accordance of Holy Medina's Declaration of Charters. They are advised to follow the same rules as it was followed during when Prophet Mohammed, SM, and his great soldiers had conquered and re-entered holy city Mecca from the Islam's enemies and gangsters of Abu Sufyan, his wife Hinda, daughter of King Ummayyad. They must enter in peace, not destroy any properties of the enemies. They must not kill any children, widow, or elderly, or anyone without weapon. If someone surrenders, they must be given shelter with chance to rectify themselves. On that day, millions of angels will protect all the real Islamic soldiers to ultimately curb down BJP's oppressive and fascist extreme Hindu regime and eliminate millions of fanatic Hindu fundamentalists from India and Bangladesh. Finally, the World Spiritual Assembly and its religious and spiritual leaders are issuing final warning to those fanatic Jews and their bosom extreme fascist Hindu fanatics, along with their secret agencies, as well as Modi's associate current fascist ruler of Bangladesh Sheikh Hasina and former ruler Khaleda Zia, and their political gangsters, to stop all of their immoral, heinous activities against innocent Muslims around the Indian subcontinent. Soon the Prince of Peace Imam Az-Zaman and Imam ul-Haq Imam al-Mahdi will arrive, along with resurrection of Jesus Christ, peace be upon them, to eliminate all fascism, oppression, and tyranny by co-creating heaven on earth. The World Spiritual Assembly, New York, USA, and its religious leaders are praying for all the innocent and oppressed victims of Kashmir, India, and Bangladesh.